You'll notice we haven't talked about yesterday's primetime January 6th hearing yet in the show. It's not because we don't care. It's because largely we're finding that you don't. Overnight ratings from last night's 2-hour edition of Law & Order Special Elections Unit show, well, the ratings that most primetime shows get, if last night got those ratings, it would be canceled after the first episode. The 2-hour hearing aired on NBC, ABC, CBS, MSNBC, and, of course, here on NewsNation for a combined viewership of 20 million people. Let's compare that off to their nightly newscasts. On ABC, 7.4 million people normally watch their nightly newscasts. Only 4.3 watch the January 6th hearing. NBC, 6 million people watch their nightly newscasts. Half of that decided to watch the January 6th hearing. CBS, a little bit better. 4.3 watched the evening newscasts. In prime time, only 3.24 tuned in for the hearings. Compare it against other kinds of events. More than twice the number of Americans, 40 million, watched President Biden's inauguration, 38.5 million the Trump inauguration. By comparison, the 2020 Oscars, about the same, 16 million. The Super Bowl last year, 100 million viewers, 5 times last night. Scott Bolden here, former chairman of the Democratic Party in Washington, D.C. Good to see you. This is what was most fascinating.
Hey, Leland.
As you watched the audience throughout the whole 2 hours, the people who tuned in stayed for all 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yep. But it was
Yes.
a very, very set group of people who were watching.
Yeah. Well, you know, the comparisons in the numbers that you did, I mean, it's hard to compare this to the Super Bowl, if you will, but I understand the viewership dropped off after the primetime news. The reality is, though, if you were an educated voter, Republican or Democrat or independent, right, and you were interested in democracy and what really happened as opposed to believing they don't have any new information, then you probably fell off. If you were interested in democracy and the future of this country, you stayed on to see whether there was any new information. What made it new was that you had a 1-year investigation, you had insiders from Trump, and you found out that the big lie, that Trump knew about the big lie, 1. And 2, you found out that this was an organized conspiracy, not a group of Trump supporters who just got out of control.
Yeah, I was there on January 6th. It certainly seemed to be organized in a lot of different ways to me. But I think about this graphic from CNN. The committee had a 7-part plan. According to the committee, Trump had a 7-part plan to overturn the election. 1, spread false election claims. We knew he was doing that long before January 6th. I was getting in fights with his people on air about that. 2, plan to replace the attorney general. We knew that because Bill Barr resigned over it. Pressured Vice President Mike Pence. He did that publicly. He did it on Twitter. Pressured state officials. There are phone calls and recordings of that. We knew it in real time. Instructed state officials to lie. We knew that. We heard about it. Summoned the mob. We saw that on Twitter. Ignored pleas to stop the violence. We'd seen reporting on that as well. There may be more proof of the things that we already knew, but we didn't really learn of a new 8th or 9th or 10th part of this graphic, did we?
Well, as a white-collar criminal defense lawyer, the jury that I pick always knows the facts generally, but then the trial fills in those facts with witnesses and documents. And what you're really seeing, or what you saw last night and we'll see in the other hearings, is the facts and the detail and even the witnesses in stark terms as to what happened. If you're interested in avoiding this in the future, if you're interested in what really happened, you'll tune into it and you'll listen to it and you'll want to do something about it. At least the Democrats hope that. The Republicans, on the other hand, say, this is old news. We didn't learn anything new, but we really did. We learned facts, and we had real live witnesses and depositions under oath who told Trump that he wasn't going to win and why he wasn't going to win. And we also had insiders who said, you got to do something to stop this, and Trump did nothing about it.
Yeah,
in real terms, in real time.
Right, no, all things that we knew, and as you point out, sort of we filled in, or we will fill in the behind the scenes, if you will, over the next couple of weeks. From a defense lawyer's perspective, and I'm interested in this, because you always under-promise the jury, right, and then you over-deliver. But this committee...
Ideally.
Ideally. But I feel like you know where I'm going with this, because last night we had been promised by Democrats for weeks that this was going to be a blockbuster. It was going to change everything. It was going to totally change the narrative, and that just didn't happen.
Well, I think Barr's testimony and Ivanka Trump's testimony had the power to change the narrative. There's several other hearings. The new video from the videographer or the film person, the documentary person, that was new. But again, you're not going to give them everything on the opening. The trial takes 2, 3, 4 weeks here, and they've still got time to deliver on new facts, new witnesses, and really getting behind the conspiracy behind this. I think all Americans ought to be interested, and all Americans would be concerned about how close we were to avoiding or doing away with the peaceful transfer of power. All of us ought to be interested in that, whether you're in the media, the law, or you're just a voter.
What do you make, and I found this fascinating as well, the people who came and watched stayed, 20 million. Largely throughout the whole 2 hours, which Lord knows any television producer would love to get an audience that stays through the whole time. But the flip side of that is that Fox News, which aired essentially counter-programming and tried to discredit and debunk the committee for 2.5 hours, they had the exact same viewership they had a year ago this week. Doesn't that just say that there really isn't any undecided or changeable minds out there?
Well, Leland, you can do a lot with the numbers. What you draw from the numbers, that's a fair analysis, if you will, but I don't think it's fair in the totality of the circumstances. We won't know about Fox viewership because they didn't run it, for example. You can talk about the other networks. We know how many people tuned into that. And be honest with you, 3 to 5 or 3 to 6 million people, that's a lot of viewers who stood there and stayed there and wanted to know the details of this, so that America could avoid it again. It's midterms, and so you're gonna have people who have decided already. But there are a lot of independents and others who are anti-Trumpers who really want to know the bottom line. I think that's what the numbers show.
You make a great point about the anti-Trump part of the Republican Party. I wish we had more time to get to it. Hey, Scott, it was good to see you. Thank you. Welcome back anytime. We enjoyed the conversation.
Hey, thank you for having me, Leland.
Thank you. Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.